In today's video, I'm going to be creating some slick and modern logo designs for a visual effects studio. What is going on, Rebrand gang? Today's video is kind of like a little mini project just while I'm waiting for there to be like enough views and enough votes on the bigger Toshiba project that I'm working on. If you haven't checked out that video already, I'll put a link in the description. Go and check that out. We're kind of going deeper into each part of the rebrand process, and at the moment we are on the sketching stage and I need votes on which sketch to take forward into the proper logo design. So yeah, check that out, but only after you've watched this video. So in today's video, I'm going to be taking part in a logo challenge that some of you guys might have seen if you are in the like online design world, like Instagram and Behance and stuff. Quite often you see this logo challenge come up. So there's this website called Logo Core, and they have this like creative brief on here. Long story short, we need to create a logo for a visual effects company. The company is called Scarlet and they have two divisions currently, so obviously we will need to create two variations of the logo for each division and also make a little design system that can work for future divisions. So basically it's just a future-proof logo, so if they have 100 divisions we could have 100 different variations of logo, no problem, because we've created a little system so they're all consistent and all nice. So in terms of design, as the logo is going to be spanning multiple divisions, I don't want to produce something that's too specific on any one thing, which gives a very wide scope for the kind of designer's mind. So I've drawn out a few different ideas which I will put up on the screen now. Basically, as you can see here, I've written the name out. Scarlet, basically the two divisions we're working on first of all are Scarlet VFX and Scarlet Raycast. And basically, as you can see here, I have drawn a lot of different ways of showing basically the first letter of the company name. Scarlet, so we got the S, we've got the little like ribbon style. If any of you have watched my really old video for Sunseeker, which was like, I don't know, like episode 10 or something like that, you'll see that it's a similar concept to that, this little ribbon style. And then there's a few other different styles here. Basically, I've got a limited time for design this evening as I'm just recording this video, like I say, as kind of a mini project. So I'm just going to start creating some of these and see what I can come up with. Okay then, so we are in Illustrator. Let's turn that grid on. Pretty sure Snap to Grid is already on. Yes, it is. Let's create that little ribbon design. I think the best way of doing this is to create one rectangle, copy it, Command and paste in front, which is Command and F, and just literally drag this side up. And we're 1, 2, 3, 4, like big squares across. Be 5 down. I think that'll be all right. Should just be able to duplicate that. Okay, so I have Googled the word Scarlet so that I could get the color. So I've got a light one there and a darker one there. I want to do a gradient of these two colors. So actually, oh yeah, I've actually put them in already. So gradient, darker there, lighter there. I can do it as if this part and this part are sitting behind the center part, and that's how I've drawn it on my sketches, so that's what I'm going to stick with now. So to achieve that, I think this needs to be a solid color, this needs to be flipped around, and that is actually looking all right. Feeling fancy, so I'll use the corners actual number at the top rather than just winging it with the live corners widget. Okay, I'm thinking that's actually looking pretty good. So I'm going to dupe it across and develop it one further. I know quite often I advise against using gradients in logos, but for this one I just wanted to. I think it looks quite cool. And it opens up our options for the divisions, because we've got VFX and Raycast. Maybe the center bar here would always stay as Scarlet, but these little gradients out here might be, I don't know, another like complementary color, or maybe even just like an inverted color. just to show differentiation of the divisions. I don't know why, but I've got this idea in my head that I don't know where it's come from, but it's this stylized lowercase Scarlet in a very like round and sort of geometric font, kind of like I'm gonna say chalet, but it's not really what I'm thinking. Oh, actually, it's kind of like that one, but without the exaggerated T. So I think we'll be able to swap that out. Maybe that R is a little bit too classic as well. That one's all right though. Right, cool. Yeah, we're nearly there. I'm going to have to pull some rulers down and find some sort of reason for alignment. As they're a visual effects studio, I'm guessing that VFX, which obviously stands for visual effects, will be their like core division, like main division. So I think that deserves the Scarlet colouring. And then the raycast, which feels, obviously because it's not exactly visual effects, it's something else to do with visual effects, that can have the secondary colour. So right now we're going to go VFX. I don't know why, but it just feels right to put that in caps with a lighter font. I think that will, yeah, that looks like it might work. Now, position him. Originally, like in my sketches, I started thinking putting it there like that, but then I'm thinking if they have some sort of like, well, even the word raycast, what I was going to say is if they have some sort of long word, it makes the logo so wide that it's almost unusable in many cases. So for Scarlet VFX, I think that looks perfectly acceptable. I'm just going to hide the artboard just so we got no black lines here. But for raycast, that's getting too long. And now you imagine if they have one called, I don't know, 3D modeling or something, it's going to become so long that it's just ridiculous. Secondary text in a logo is always a bit of a funny one. You don't want to make it too small because when the logo is scaled down, it becomes unreadable. But you don't want to make it too big because then you lose that hierarchy. But as this is a division, I reckon I can go divided by 2 in the font size, press enter and take that down. And then because that's a lot smaller, I think it needs to be a little bit chubbier. I think that looks quite cool. And maybe we'll call the darker red the VFX Scarlet colour. And now it's just a case of finding the perfect position for this. Okay, no, that's a bad idea. Right, okay. This is what we're going to do. We're going to align these to the left aligned, and then rock this at the exact same height. So there's some concrete point, there's some structure to the madness then. So that's looking quite good. But now, from what I've just seen, I want that to align with the bottom there. So I feel like if we outline this text, align this to the bottom of that there, that center beam, and then put a ruler across there, move this guy up Now we've got some clear structure. It's aligned at the bottom. This part here is aligned with the bottom of the subdivision word name here. This alignment here between these two texts just looks like it needs a little work now. And that's just basically because the shape of the text, like the beginning character on the left-hand side, is different. So it just needs a little bit of visual alignment. to show it on a dark background, on a light background, the VFX version and the raycast version. I reckon that'll be good. And then I'll put a little poll up so you can press the little I button up here as usual and vote for your favorite option which you think would work best for Scarlet, the visual effects studio. Right, for this one, I think on a red background like this, we can do something quite cool. If I change the color harmony here, I want to make the light areas white. Then I want to make the dark areas just like a... I'm not sure if I'm thinking just grey or if I'm thinking like a light red. Oh, now I've seen that, that's looking quite nice. But, no, yeah, the background's red. And I think what we would, like the rules that would go with that logo are that this logo should only ever appear on red, or it should appear as red on a white background or any other coloured background. But now I want to create the raycast version. I think Scarlet should always stay as Scarlet. I think, if anything, this should change colour. Perhaps it could just be that the dark part of the red would go into this dark blue, or like the secondary colour. That could look quite good in orange, look quite good, well actually it'd look pretty awful in green, but you can cross that bridge when we come to it. Looks like it's given a little bit more love when you just tilt the gradient rather than just having it running from left to right. Maybe it boils down to the fact that when you open PowerPoint and just make a standard shape and press gradient, it does just like a linear gradient from left to right. So maybe it just looks a little bit further away than what you can create in PowerPoint, and that's why it just seems a little bit more prestige. Okay, cool. Yeah, the next one I want to try, it's like half a circle and then another half a circle, flip that around and offset it so it looks like an S shape. So I'm just copying that, pasting it in front again, making sure scale, strokes and effects is off so the stroke thickness stays the same as I scale that down. Actually it's a bit like an S and like a C, so like the SC, the beginning of the letter Scarlet, or the beginning letters of the word Scarlet. This, I think, will look good at a 45-degree angle. Even though I liked the look of this here with the VFX, it's not a system that's working clearly, because when this was in this font, it doesn't work. It looks too like these two are battling for attention. So I'm going to see if this works the other way. And if it does, then that is a design system that will work. To be honest, I don't know if we need to keep messing with the actual icon. Like, I know I messed with the icon here to incorporate some of that blue, but I'm thinking that's probably not that much of a good idea to change the overarching company logo, especially as the name of the company is actually a color. Seems a little bit wild to only serve you options that change that color. So I'm going to leave that like that, but just play with this orange a little more so it doesn't look quite so basic. I need something between these two swatches. Like this one looks too yellowy, that one looks too reddy. So if I just chuck a little 72 in. No, we're going to be very, very cheeky and go with a 69. That is perfect. On a coloured background, I don't think we should do anything more than just make it all white on top of there. And same with this. I think the gradient's working. But because we've got a radial gradient in there, not a linear gradient, perhaps we will adjust it so it kind of looks like a vignette basically, but I think that looks quite good. So that's option 1, that's option 2, and I'm going to make option 3 right now. Right, this next little idea is playing on a hexagon and then basically putting 2 cuts in it to make it look like an S. So yeah, let's just make it. On Smart Guides, it gives you this little line extension. So down there in the bottom right hand side of this line that I'm moving, it says line extension, and that's just reassuring you that you're not moving the position of the line, you're just extending it. Very, very helpful. Okay, I think this is the one. So I'm going to expand the strokes. Object, expand, yeah, expand everything. Shift and M for the shape builder tool. Hold Alt and we'll just trim all this stuff away. Don't hold Alt, just click and drag and go really carefully through this cheeky little maze. Bang, and it's white for some reason, so just click black and it doesn't work, and then you just click it again and for some reason it does. You see, like, I do like that font, but the little slant on the bottom of the E and stuff, I'll just choose it for a sec. That there, and the way the R has the little wave in it just doesn't fit with that icon to my eyes. F for a heavy, yeah, that looks like it already exists, which normally is a good thing, but not because I stole it, because I obviously haven't stole it, you just literally watch me create it. But normally just if something looks established, it means that something's working. It looks like, you know, but apart from this, maybe it looks more like a tool company. I'm not afraid to go a little bit smaller than half size if I need to, but basically I want the footprint of this logo to not go any deeper than that line there, because when you have, like, say for example, we've got this and then suddenly I put that on there like that, it's really annoying when you're positioning it next to other logos or in the header of a website, for example, and everything's pushed down. So say, let's just say, just for argument's sake, there's another element here, like maybe a photo or the header image on the website. Suddenly you have to redo your like visual alignment to this part here, the part that hangs down too low, just through poor design. And then it makes this gap look absolutely massive, and then this side just looks tight and ugly. So that's just my thoughts on it anyway. So I like to keep things nice and neat. And now that is quite small, but I mean, if they were going to put this on a business card, for example, perhaps on the side of the business card where your details appear, you would just use this part of the logo. And then on the back, you would use the coloured background. So say this was that icon, you might use that as the back of the business card with the full VFX like branding. But to be honest, sometimes when you print things down small anyway, it's surprisingly readable. I mean, a good way of testing this, say we made this logo, like probably the smallest you'd make a logo is something like 40 millimeters wide, which would mean that is 6.43 point. So actually there's room to flex. You could even go smaller than that, because I think the smallest kind of readable text that you should only really use for small print is like 5.5, so 6.5 should be okay. Sometimes like on small ads you can kind of use that for body copy anyway. So yeah, I think that this is okay. Now in terms of positioning, I think we're going to have to go to the right And now we've got this funny thing here where the alignment is from the edge of the T there is not going to work because it just looks wrong. So I think if we align it from the edge of the leg of the T or the arm of the T, I don't know what it's called, the main body of the T, we're going to have a lot better time. I don't want any gradients on this option. I just want to make this super clean, super clear. Raycast, right, the first thing I see there is that needs kerning. Oh whoa, I could see that from a mile away. That gap between the A and the Y, I think you could actually see that from space. That was like the Great Wall of China levels of gap. That was ridiculous. On the color palette in Illustrator, you have these little kind of hidden options. Invert, complement. Oh, and they're similar. So I'm going to basically outline them and then try that color or that color. Yeah, I think that one looks better. And now the only kind of weird thing about this option and this option is that even though the company's called Scarlet, it doesn't actually appear as Scarlet like on the design. But just because I've put the logo on that color doesn't mean that like the end customer would ever see it on that color. It's just kind of showing how it would appear like white on another color. But I'm saying, like, let's just pretend this is the back of a business card. I would suggest that you would do something along the lines of like this, just so there's some sort of tie-in. Just so there's some sort of relevance, and then maybe you'd realign that there, just so it's clear that Raycast is kind of like a subsidiary or division of Scarlet, but there's still some sort of Scarlet brand in here. Or I mean, you could even, oh god, I'm getting carried away, put the little logo in there as part of their like brand identity. But that's getting a little bit ahead of myself really. We're just at the moment just working on logo design, so just going to pop that back in the middle. Okay then, cool. So I am running out of time, but I've done 3 options there and I'm actually pretty happy with all of them considering our time constraints. So I'm going to just do that thing in the video now where I put a little bit of music over it and run the poll. So click the little button up here, the little I button, and there'll be 3 options, and vote for your favorite on there, because I'll be interested to see what's your favorite, because I actually can't pick mine. I think they're all kind of good on their own merits. I think they could all work, like if this was a real company and not just a logo challenge, I think they could all work, and I think they're all good. So it'll be very interesting to see what you guys think. And then remember, once you've voted in the poll, please head down to the comments below and let me know what you think. And just another little reminder, have a look on the Toshiba rebrand that I'm doing. It's a little bit more in depth. The first video just goes through the plan, the second video goes through a little bit of the research and then the sketching, and then I'm going to be making the next video like this week or next week, basically creating like a new Toshiba logo or various new Toshiba logos, and then getting you to vote on your favorite one. And then after that, I'm going to create a little brand identity guide. So yeah, it'd be really good if you get involved in that. And yeah, thanks for watching the vids. Okay then, Rebrand gang, let's see them final options.